Welcome to the 2020 Ottawa County Voting Forum. My name is Abigail Sullivan and I am the Programs Librarian at the Harris-Elmore and Genoa Libraries. Also joining us this evening is Jennifer Fording. She is the director of our library. She's on here. I do want to take a moment and thank everyone for taking the time out of your evening and joining us today. The goal of tonight is to become educated about the candidates and issues we will see on the Ottawa County ballot in November. We will all have the opportunity to hear from the candidates and the representatives speaking about the issues. All candidates on the Ottawa County ballot were invited to participate, as well as the representatives supporting the local issues in Elmore, Harris Township, Clay Township, and Genoa. We ask that all participants remain muted during this meeting unless speaking. This will help cut down on background noise. If and when a community member wants to ask a question, please send the question using the chat function on Zoom, right in the bottom, in the middle. Make sure you have switched your chat from to all participants to only Abigail Sullivan, and I will assist in fielding the questions in the order they are received. All candidates and representatives will have 5 minutes to introduce themselves and speak on behalf of their campaign and position. After every candidate running for the position has spoken, there will be a short opportunity for question and answer from the community. I have shared tonight's outline in the chat box already. I can do that again if you guys cannot find that. It is a web address to our website, and it'll open into a PDF. Feel free to use this as an outline, as a guide for this conversation this evening. And please note that this forum will be recorded and displayed on our YouTube channel for future viewing. Okay. So like I said, I was going to switch some seats. So first up are our two candidates running for Ottawa County Commissioner. This term begins on January 2nd, 2021. And I will ask Mark Stahl to go ahead and go first. So Mark, your 5 minutes begins right now. Make sure you're unmuted. See that you're still muted. So down in the bottom left-hand corner, if you want to click on your microphone and go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
Oh. You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Harris-Elmore Genoa Libraries for hosting this event, and Abigail, thanks for putting it all together and coordinating it. And thanks for all the participants that have joined us in the public. Certainly appreciate your time in regards to this introduction of myself. Would be Mark Stahl. I'm the current county commissioner. I'm currently the board president. I started my career in politics in Allen Township as an Allen Township trustee. From there, I ran and became county commissioner. I replaced Carl Coble when Carl decided not to run for re-election. From there, I have been a county commissioner, and in addition to that, I have been a township fire department member of the Allen Clay Joint Fire District for 23 years. I'm married to my wife, Julie. We've been married 33 years, and we have a daughter, Callie, and she lives in Philadelphia, and she is a teacher at the Villanova University. So certainly proud of her.
Yeah.
Continuing on, out on the campaign trail, out on the campaign trail, we usually get a lot of questions. What is it actually that a county commissioner does? The primary responsibility of a county commissioner is to bring in all the revenue, and we sit down and we do the allocation of the budget through a budget process that we do every year. Even the elected officials that are elected that require funding, that comes from the county commissioners. So in that process, what we do is we go through and we sit down and we budget. But what we have is we have a collaboration partnership discussion, because quite frankly, we just do not have enough revenue to satisfy all the needs of all the departments. So what we do is we have what we call a trust me factor. And quite frankly, if they need something, they can trust that they can come down and that we will fund that operation. But in doing that, what we really do is we build a relationship, and that relationship goes past the budget process. That relationship and that collaboration that we have goes through the whole year. There's many different issues that come about that we as commissioners need the assistance of other departments. I found that out quite early in my career as a commissioner, that there's not a lot of things that I can do on my own, and that I need the help of someone else to help me get where I need to go. And we use that in a regional, as a regional voice when we have issues at the county. We use that for the Davis-Besse issue of energy. We reached out to our partners and had a regional voice. So from there, that collaboration and that partnership is something that I'm very proud of. I think if you ask any of the elected officials or department heads, they're very proud of that relationship that we have. And we will continue to have that under my leadership. We also have to reach out and have partnerships in other areas. We need to look at our water quality. We need to have more research in not only the decisions that are being made, but the nitrogen in the water. We have to look at broadband. It's quite sad, but with the virus, we have discovered that there are areas in our county that need to have broadband enhanced. Infrastructure. Many times we want to increase our infrastructure, but what we're doing is we are looking in a rural area. And a lot of times in the rural area, agricultural is the land that it goes past. As commissioners, we're pushing very hard for the Ohio Water and Sewer Rotary Loan Program. What that does is that helps take and alleviate some of the financial pressures on the agricultural society in order for us to move water lines and sewer lines to promote infrastructure and to create jobs. Jobs Ohio is another thing that we've worked very hard on. Jobs Ohio is funded by liquor sales tax, and that money comes back for infrastructure improvements. But many times they ask that.
Okay, Mark. Thank you. Your 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. All right, and up next, we do have Gary Quizno. So Gary, go ahead and unmute yourself. And again, we will have an opportunity for questions for both of these candidates in just a moment.
All right, am I good? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
All right, awesome. Yes, my name is Gary Quizno. I'm a candidate for Ottawa County Commissioner. You know, the position of County Commissioner is one that I've contemplated pursuing for a long time. When I was a kid growing up in Port Clinton, a guy by the name of John Fritz had a big influence on my life. He's the former mayor of Port Clinton and then went on to be commissioner. John and his wife Elva were lifelong friends of my mom and dad. And John was my Boy Scout leader. He was, his son Jeff and I are really good friends. He even drove our football bus. And so when John went from being mayor of Port Clinton to commissioner, at that time when I was over in Oak Harbor, I thought, well, you know, this is a position that someday I would like to pursue. And well, that time, that day is now. And I've followed with admiration and pride a real good friend of mine, Jim Sass, who's served for 12 years as county commissioner. And he's been a great mentor for me throughout this campaign. A little bit about us, my wife Becky and I, we've lived our entire lives in Ottawa County. We're both graduates of Port Clinton High School. We both have a Bachelor of Science degree from Miami University, and I hold a master's degree in Educational Administration from the University of Toledo. Besides growing up in PC, Becky and I have both worked in the Danbury and Oak Harbor schools. We've raised our family here. We have 3 children, Adam, Mandy, and Annie, all raised here. And we've met many good people all over the county. So I see this position as a chance for me to give back and to serve the people of the county. The role of county commissioner is one I see as leadership. And I believe strongly that I've proven myself to be a leader in Ottawa County since I was named the head football coach at Danbury High School way back in 1977 at the young age of 23. And then I went on for 29 years, was the head football coach at Oak Harbor High School. And I'm very proud of the 40 plus years in leadership roles in education that I've had as a high school math teacher, athletic director, school administrator, and a Hall of Fame football coach. I believe I've acquired the necessary communication and people skills to be an effective commissioner. I also have the organizational skills and strong work ethic to be successful in to help manage the numerous county departments. But above all, I know the importance of working collaboratively. I may not have the experience in this position, but I have experience in leadership roles, as I've mentioned. Also, while living in Oak Harbor, I served on the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, and a St. Boniface School Council. I was a program coordinator for the Ottawa County TNT mentoring program, and I still serve as a mentor in the Danbury schools. I just recently finished helping out with the U.S. Census Bureau as a field enumerator. Since declaring my candidacy, in order to learn a little bit more about the role of commissioner in the various county departments, I've met with numerous county officials. I've had good informative meetings with sanitary engineer Kelly Fry, county engineer Ron Leidy, Mike Libben of Soil and Water Conservation District, Treasurer Bob Hilly, and then longtime county recorder Virginia Park. I also have former county commissioners, I already mentioned Mr. Jim Sass, but also Jody Regal, Carl Coble, Chris Redfern, Daryl Opfer, and John Popson, who are supporting my campaign, and I feel that I can use them as a resource whenever needed. Now, in terms of what I'd like to accomplish as commissioner, I first want to say that I feel confident in saying that there was a point early on in my coaching career that I could have pursued job opportunities that would have located us out of the county and maybe even out of the state. But Becky and I wanted to raise our family here in Ottawa County because of the types of communities here and the quality of life that we enjoy here in Ottawa County. So with that said, as commissioner, I will work diligently to improve our quality of life here in Ottawa County. The health and safeties of our citizens, especially during this pandemic, is paramount. As county commissioner, I will work to make sure the county is doing all we can to aid the families and businesses adversely affected by the pandemic. With the expected loss of county revenue due to the pandemic, fiscal responsibility is an important issue now as well as into the future. Having grown up in a blue-collar family, I know the importance of wise and thoughtful spending, working with a tight budget. Another issue would be job creation and economic development. According to a report that I recently read by the 4-county group for collaborative growth that was put together by Pogemeyer and BGSU,
Thank you,
Ottawa
Gary.
County is projected to...
Yeah, I'm sorry. 5 minutes.
That's 5 minutes? Oh, wow.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for these two candidates? Okay, I don't see anything in my chat, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Next up are the two candidates running for Ohio State Senate in District 2. I will ask Senator Theresa Gabriel to go ahead and go first. So your 5 minutes begins right now.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank the Harris-Elmore Library for putting on this forum. I'm State Senator Theresa Gabriel. I'm the mother of 3, a business owner, a small little restaurant in Bowling Green that my husband started in 1986. I served on Bowling Green City Council as a state representative, and I'm current state senator. I've been an attorney in Wood County for the past 26 years, and in times like this, experience really matters. We need experienced leadership to get us through this pandemic and to help Ohio recover stronger and better than ever on the other side. I have thoughts on a whole lot of issues that I'm happy to share tonight, but there are 2 that are really important to the people of Ottawa County. That's Lake Erie and Davis-Besse. Lake Erie is a treasure. and Ohio's most important natural resource. My great friends and mentors, Randy Gardner and Steve Arndt, were constantly fighting for a cleaner, healthier Lake Erie. And now they're no longer in the legislature. I felt that I need to build upon their work. I've sponsored Senate Joint Resolution 1, which provide $1 billion over 10 years to fund critical water quality improvement projects. Also, during the most recent state operating budget, I led the charge to increase the amount of money we put into the H2 Ohio program. But Lake Erie isn't the only important part of Ottawa County. Davis Bessie is here, and this will be our fourth debate. And during the previous three, my opponent has declared that he supports a repeal of House Bill 6. In fact, he's proudly touted an endorsement by the Ohio Environmental Council, a rabid anti-House Bill 6 group that hates nuclear energy. A repeal of House Bill 6 would shut down Davis Bessie and completely devastate not just Ottawa County, but our region as a whole. By supporting a repeal of House Bill 6, my opponent is telling the thousands of families that rely on the plant for jobs, schooling for their children, funding for fire and police, and even libraries, that the energy needed for electricity, that his ideology is more important than what you need. I've been a constant loud voice advocating for Davis Bessie and my constituents in Ottawa County. And I look forward to continuing just that when I start serving my next term. But on top of the experience, I've also been the only candidate endorsed by small business organizations like the Ohio Chamber, the Leadership Fund, and NFIB, and the trade unions, the Affiliated Construction Trades, Northwest Ohio Building and Construction Council, operating engineers, carpenters, IBEW, pipe fitters, as well as law enforcement and the state's largest teachers organization, the OEA. I've been endorsed by these groups because they know that I'm going to fight to keep Northern Ohio working. I know the law. I understand business. I'll fight for our safety. I'll fight for our schools. And I have a track record of working as an elected official in a bipartisan manner to get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We do have one question from Mine. I will go ahead. Mine, would you like to unmute yourself and ask that
Excuse me, are we going to both introduce ourselves and then start questions?
Yes, I'm so sorry, Joel. So I will ask Joel or Theresa to go ahead. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for having me here tonight. I'm pleased to be able to present myself as a candidate and my positions and what I intend to do when I'm in the legislature. So I'm a child of Ohio. I grew up here in the state and I've spent most of my life here in the state. I graduated from OSU with my undergraduate degree. I've worked in a variety of parts of the country and landed in New York for a number of years where I had my own business. So I'm an artist. I manufactured my own glass and sold it in 47 out of 50 states across the nation and in countries around the world. So I do have experience as a business, but eventually that became not enough for me. I wanted to give something back, and so I started teaching. I was lucky enough to be invited back to Ohio to teach at Bowling Green State University. So I've been in Bowling Green for the last 14 years where I've raised my family. My wife, Mary, I have 2 kids right now in high school, and I'm proud that they're in public schools here in the state of Ohio. So my time at Bowling Green has been quite inspiring for me. I actually helped form our union, our chapter of the AAUP. I've fought on the negotiating team for the last 3 rounds of negotiations, and we've achieved things like fair pay for the faculty at Bowling Green, higher quality of teaching at the university. In fact, last year we were ranked number 3 in the nation for the quality of our teaching. I'm proud of the work that we've done to protect faculty and increase the quality of education for the students at our university. And time and time again, we're ranked as one of the best values for education here in Ohio. So the sad part about what's happening to education in Ohio is that 20 years ago, Ohio was 5th in the nation for the quality of our education. Right now, we're in the low 30s, and that's not the right direction. We've been systematically defunding our education. We've been shortchanging our students, and shortchanging our students is really shortchanging our future. The future of manufacturing in Ohio rests on having a workforce that's capable of working in new jobs. So I want to invest in our educational system. I want to make sure that public money stays in public schools. I want to make sure that if we have charter schools, that they're accountable, and in the same way that our public schools are. Now, I've been accused of wanting to repeal House Bill 6. We can't accept corruption on this level in the state of Ohio. Yes, our community has benefited from some of the stuff that happened in there, but other parts of our community are being devastated by that. Manufacturers across the state and in our own community are paying a surcharge to subsidize unprofitable energy suppliers. So I am a union man. I fought for jobs. I'm going to continue to fight for jobs, including those good union jobs that are at Davis-Besse. But we can't do that and accept corruption. We can't accept $61 million as the cost of doing business in the state of Ohio. Just because we benefit from that doesn't mean that that's what's right. So we can protect those IBEW jobs. We can bring in wind energy, renewable energy. It's as cheap as coal right now. We can protect those steam fitters because we're going to be working on the Enbridge number 5 pipeline. We're going to have solid union jobs available, and we can protect the jobs in our community without accepting $60 million of bribery as the cost of doing that. So once we repeal House Bill 6, we need to bring all the constituents to the table. We need to bring the citizens of Ohio to the table. We need to bring the unions to the table. We need to bring the businesses to the table. And we need to make sure that everybody is represented, not just the people that can afford to be there. Now, we've been talking a lot about how local government is not getting enough money to fund all the things they need to do. I can tell you that right now there's $1 billion of CARES Act money sitting on the table, ready to be accepted, but the Senate hasn't acted on it. The state Senate here in Ohio is about to lose $1 billion in funds that can support our communities through this challenging time of COVID, but they're not acting on it. And further, over the last 10 years, the Republican partisans in the House and the Senate have been defunding all of our first responders by cutting the local government fund.
Thank you,
So
Joel.
yes, experience matters, but what kind of experience do you have?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, and I apologize again. We did have a question aimed at Theresa here. So a community member wanted to know why you did not fight to suspend Ohio Revised Code 3701.13.
I don't know the Ohio Revised Code by memory. I have no. What does that Revised Code section say?
This community member says she's unable, or they are unable to mute themselves. So if they want to be more specific in the chat, they can. But that is the chat I received.
Okay, I don't know what that Revised Code section refers to.
Okay. We also had a comment, the future of energy is wind and solar, not oil and nuclear. New jobs should be in new energy. Thank you, you answered my question. I just wanted to share that. So we do have another question from Jill. Mr. O'Dorisio, you have made negative comments toward Davis-Besse. What is your position on Davis-Besse specifically and on nuclear energy in general? So I will give you about 45 seconds to give an answer to this question.
I want to be clear that my comments are negative about the legislation and not about Davis-Besse. I think that nuclear energy is an important part of our energy portfolio. It's a low carbon source of energy, and it's very stable. So we need stable, low carbon energy as part of an all of the above answer to our energy needs. So I respect Davis-Besse, but at the same time, we have other energy sources that are available to us now based on new technologies. We also have other manufacturers in our district. So First Solar is one of the largest solar manufacturers in America. And, you know, part of House Bill 6 was rescinding incentives to transition to a carbon neutral energy supply. So it's actually, aside from the positive work it did supporting Davis-Besse, what it did was make Ohio a pariah. It set us back decades in as far as our energy generation and how we address the future.
Okay, thank you. We do have another question. Looks like it's an open question. Has the Ohio Senate spent CARES money on local governments in the second Senate district?
Yes, about $40 million came to the second Senate district, and the Senate has passed that. The local governments need to pass resolutions and get that funding. And I've actually been reaching out to members, to community leaders in areas that haven't passed that resolution yet, to talk to them and see if they need assistance with that. But we want to make sure that that money is getting out to the local governments and has an opportunity to do some real good here.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we were able to see what the Ohio Revised Code is. So Senator, I'll come back to you. Suspending Ohio Revised Code 3701.13 removes legality for Governor DeWine's emergency public health orders.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Absolutely. So originally it was asked, why has Theresa not fought to suspend Ohio Revised Code? And then they said, this removes legality for Governor DeWine's emergency public health orders.
Oh, okay. There is a Senate Bill 311 that actually passed through the Senate recently that would actually give greater legislative oversight over the health orders. I mean, there are 3 branches of government. And I think it's important as legislators that we're in the mix and that there is an opportunity for legislative review of executive orders or health orders. You know, of course, that would go through the legislative process with opportunity for hearings from medical professionals and people in the community. But that passed the Senate probably about 2 weeks ago. That would, again, provide greater legislative oversight of the health orders.
Okay.
I'd like to address that as well. There's 5 bills being pushed forward by partisans in the legislature right now that are actually trying to take away power from our governor, trying to impeach our governor, trying to remove penalties for not following health orders. As a state, we've chased away Amy Acton, who was the expert who was in charge of our initially very good response to COVID. And we've been unable to hire a new director of public health because they're too scared to come here and work in our state. So we have partisans in our legislature working at cross purposes, trying to disempower experts and trying to weaken our initially strong response to COVID. So we need people who are going to look at this as a health issue and not as a partisan issue.
Can I respond?
We have a few more questions floating in and I'd like to get through them so we can move on. So I'm going to ask 2 more. I will give you each 30 seconds to answer the first one and then I will mute. It just makes it a little bit easier for me not to interrupt you guys. And then the last one is for Joel and then we will move on. So the first is how would you assist citizens concerned with integrity in public office obtained investigations, specifically area concerns with prosecutor and judicial misconduct arising from Ottawa County Special Prosecutor Timothy Braun, who recently resigned his law license and was removed from office?
I will say that, I'm sorry, would you like to go, Senator Gavarone?
Go ahead, you started.
Thank you. I will say that we have endemic corruption in the state. Over and over, we've seen scandal after scandal. We need a government that's responsive to people and instead of responsive to the people that are paying for our government. So we do need to clean up our government. And the way we need to do that is by putting in people who are ethical and will follow the law.
Thank you. Senator?
Yeah, as an attorney, I believe in the judicial system, and I believe that wrongdoers will be brought to justice. So it's important that that we're working transparently and that we follow through the judicial system.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, Andrew, I know you sent me something, so Joel and Senator, if you guys want to stick around, if some people want to ask questions later, you can. If not, that's all right as well. But the last one is for Joel. What is your position on windmills on Lake Erie?
The real reason that we're talking about windmills on Lake Erie is because Ohio has some of the most restrictive setback laws as far as placing new commercial scale wind power. So some time ago, the legislature actually tripled the setback requirements. So now even, you know, my grandfather owned a farm in Iowa. He was fairly resistant to wind until he figured out that each wind installation can provide $8,000 to $10,000 a year in income, and he can still use his farmland for farming. We would be doing that right now in Ohio. We would be helping family farms. We would be creating renewable energy, but it's nearly impossible because of these setback laws to place there's no uninterrupted portions of land big enough to place a windmill.
Okay, thank you, Joel. You've been muted. Sorry, we just have to stay on track. I'm sorry, everyone. I really don't like muting you. Okay, thank you, Joel and Senator Gabriel. We appreciate you joining us. We will be moving on to the two candidates running for commissioner, and this term begins on January 3rd, 2021. I will ask Mark Koppler to go ahead and go first. So your 5 minutes begins now.
Well, good evening, and I'd like to thank Abigail Sullivan and the Harris-Elmore Genoa Libraries for hosting this virtual voters forum this evening. My name is Mark Koppler, and I am your Ottawa County Commissioner. So a little background information about me. My family moved to Port Clinton in 1959, just before my 5th birthday. And I just celebrated 19 years of marriage to my wife, Tammy. My son, Pete, is now running the family business. My son, William, lives in Chicago. And my stepson, Jalen Kalick, lives in Tiffin and works for Tiffin University. I started Koppler Heating and Electric in 1990. I'm a member of St. John Lutheran Church in Port Clinton. I've served several terms on church council. I'm a member of the Port Clinton Kiwanis Club and the Port Clinton Elks Lodge. I'm a former member of Port Clinton City Council, where I served at some capacity on all 6 committees and was chairman of 2 of those committees. I'm currently finishing up my first term as commissioner. I sit on 11 different committees and chair the Portage River Basin Council. I'm also a board member representing the commissioners on the Port Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce and the Marblehead Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. I think it's important that we serve on those boards and we sit on those committees so we can be heard and to give a voice to those that elected us and concerning issues that may be facing us today. So my decision to run, well, initially in 2016, I had friends that encouraged me to run because they believed in me, they had faith in me, and they trusted me. And I discussed this with family members. I talked it over with former Port Clinton Mayor Debbie Highmore-Tester and former County Commissioner and at that time, State Representative Steve Arndt. And Representative Arndt and I had a long discussion over the responsibilities and obligations of the position. And Representative Arndt, knowing the time requirement of the position, voiced concern over what I would do with my family business. I told him it was time for me to step back and give up control, and I would be able to devote the necessary time to serve as commissioner. They all voiced support to have me run back in 2016. So my decision to run for both city council and as a county commissioner are basically the same. It's the loss of employment opportunities in this county. We've had major employers that have moved out over the years, and we've not replaced them with like opportunities. We've become a tourism-based economy, which makes it difficult for young families and for small businesses to survive. You basically have to make a year-round living in just 5 months. Having started my own small business in 1990, I understand those difficulties. We've managed to survive for more than 30 years, including weathering the Great Recession in the early 2000s. So what are my goals? Well, my goals this time around remain the same as they were in 2016. First off is economic responsibility within Ottawa County. We have an excellent board of commissioners right now. We budget well, and the county at this time is in good financial shape. Lake Erie water quality. You know, we all know Lake Erie is vitally important to Ottawa County. I serve on 4 committees, 2 of them in Columbus, 2 of them in Toledo, so that we can have a say in how we move forward in addressing the water quality issue of Lake Erie. And lastly, economic development, and this might be the most important. The commissioners work with and we help fund the OCIC, and we look forward to helping the new director bring opportunities to Ottawa County. So why me? Well, my business background as a heating, air conditioning, and electrical contractor give me unique qualities and a different outlook than any of the other candidates. Troubleshooting, problem solving, those are what I do, and it's what I do well. I've used these to the benefit of the county. I have the energy, the drive, the determination, and maturity needed as a commissioner, and I am making a difference. And I'll continue this work the next 4 years, and I'm asking for your support and your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right, up next we have Randy Sheets. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself, Randy. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm pretty nervous, but you know, I had a high school baseball coach told me one time. I said, "Coach, I'm really nervous to go up to the plate and hit." And he says, "All that means is you care. All that means is you care." And I tell you what, I care a whole lot about Ottawa County, and that's why I'm running for commissioner. You know, I just want to thank Elmore Harris, Genoa Libraries for putting on this forum. I am the endorsed Democrat for the position of Ottawa County Commissioner. I am a lifelong resident of Ottawa County. I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself and share my experiences, my opportunities that I've had in life, and my ideas for Ottawa County. I was born in Port Clinton and raised in Oak Harbor, where I graduated from Oak Harbor High School. After high school, I spent 4 years at Bowling Green State University, where I graduated with honors cum laude with a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice. The Elmore and Genoa areas will always have a place in my heart. My wife, Liz, and I purchased our first home in Elmore, and we began to raise our family until we outgrew that home on Clinton Street, and we moved to Oak Harbor, where we still reside today. As far as Genoa goes, I received my first management job with Gordon Lumber in Genoa, where I spent 4 years managing that store. When I took over that store, they had lost $190,000 the year before I took over. Within 1 year, we decreased that by $100,000, and by the second year, we had made money. We made over $150,000 my third and fourth year as manager there, and that's when I moved on to Gordon Lumber in Port Clinton, where we made over $100,000 every year I managed there, which was 5 years. I am currently the director of purchasing for the Gordon Lumber Company. I have been at Gordon Lumber for almost 24 years. I started as a yard worker when I was 18 years old. My first year at Bowling Green, I've done everything from the ground up. I was a truck driver. I was an inside salesman. I was an outside salesman. I was in management for 9 years. And now I'm the director of purchasing. So as far as business goes, I've done it all as well. So there isn't just one candidate that knows business. There's at least two. I can say that for sure. I began my career at Gordon Lumber as just a job, and it has now turned into basically a lifelong career since I was a teenager. I have deep roots in Ottawa County. My family's been here since before the Civil War. I truly care about the county. I live here, I work here, I've raised my family here. I have 3 children. Tori's my eldest, Adrian, who's 15, sophomore in high school at Oak Harbor, and Landon, who is in 8th grade, plays football for Oak Harbor, left tackle, number 67, go Rockets. Although I do love all the schools in Ottawa County, I've supported Genoa, I've supported Port Clinton in my years at both of those, in both of those villages and cities. I'm running for commissioner because I'm a born leader. I believe I'm the best candidate to lead the strategic growth and planning of this county. I'm a proponent of small businesses and family farms. My family owned farms in this county for over a century. I baled hay and straw in the summer, and I have, an excellent work ethic and family values. I know the values of hard work. I will be dedicated to the continuous growth and improvement of Ottawa County. I have prepared and managed multi-million-dollar budgets working for the Gordon Lumber Company. I plan to implement short and long-term strategic planning for the county. I believe that is in dire need of that.
Thank you, Randy. You've been muted. Thank you. All right. So does anybody in the audience have any questions for Mark or Randy? Okay, I don't see anything coming through, so we will move on. I now invite the candidates running for Ottawa County Recorder to speak. First up is Nathan Daniels.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to be here this evening. As Abigail said, my name is Nathan Daniels. So to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a practicing attorney, and I am special counsel at Oregon Municipal Court, where I represent indigent clients. I also do landscaping at the Luther Home of Mercy in Williston, which, if you're not familiar, is a nursing home for the developmentally disabled. One of my proudest achievements is that I became an Eagle Scout at age 15. So one of the things I hear a lot is, what on earth does a county recorder even do? And that's a great question. So I like to say that the county recorder is the official record keeper of land and real estate transaction documents. So it's important that we have a complete and accurate record of those documents. If you're a landowner or if you're going to purchase land, you want to make sure that you have a clear chain of title. And it's important that you have someone in that job that has the expertise and the knowledge and the skills to know what to look for in those documents. As an attorney, I do have that expertise. I've been trained to look at those documents, and I know what specific things to look for in them. I'm also familiar with the program that Ottawa County uses for recording. There are a few different ones out there, and I was blessed to actually shadow a Ohio County recorder, and she did teach me the process. So there are 2 additional programs that I would like to implement. The first one deals with mortgage fraud prevention. This program is available in a few of Ohio's counties right now, and it's called Fraud Sleuth. So this is a free online search and email notification system program. The way it works is you sign up, you provide your name, your email, and your address. You can make multiple profiles if you want. Say your name is Robert Smith, you can do that. If your name is Bob Smith as well, you can put that on there. And what happens is if someone comes to the county recorder's office and they try to record a document with your address, we can automatically notify you of that. And this is especially great if you have elderly parents, because let's say someone tries to go to your mother's house and tries to get her to sign a contract, tells her it's something else, she unwittingly signs it. If you provide your address or her address to us, we can notify you of that. The second program that I would do helps to benefit veterans. This deals with their DD-214 or honorable discharge cards specifically. So it's one of the duties of the county recorder to record those military discharge cards. And that's important because you need to prove your military status in order to get benefits, whether it's from the VA or student loans, what have you. So those can get lost or destroyed easily. And think of it this way, you're not going to carry your birth certificate around in your wallet. And as careful as you can be, those originals, a lot of them were actually destroyed in 1973 in a fire. It destroyed anywhere from 16 to 18 million of those. And there, at that time, was no way to copy them, no microfilms of them. So what I can do is create what's called a veteran's identification card. And looks just like my driver's license here, only it would have your discharge number on it. I can create that right there in the office forum. To benefit our veterans, of course, it is free of charge. And this program is available in 71 of Ohio's 88 counties. And it's about time that we add Ottawa County to that list as well. So they can present this card at the VA or any other place, even that gives military discounts, whether it's retail, restaurants, etc. So why is this so important? Well, let's imagine this scenario. If you're a veteran and you go to a VA hospital, you need treatment for something. Well, if you don't have your discharge card on you, because not only do you need to have your number, but you need to be able to prove your status, they have to send for it. We all know how bureaucracy works. That's going to take weeks potentially to get that. But if you have your identification card, you have it right there. And especially when you're dealing with health benefits, time is of the essence. So in summary, I have the expertise and skills to continue the work effectively in the office. I would also add 2 additional programs. The first one deals with preventing mortgage fraud, and the second one is for our veterans to benefit them by creating a veterans identification card. And I hope you will all consider me when you go to vote. Thank you so much, and thank you to the Harris-Elmore Library tonight.
Yes, thank you, Nate. You're right on the dot. All right, our next candidate running for Ottawa County Recorder is Beth Gilman. Go ahead, Beth.
Thank you, Abigail. And my opponent has some great ideas. And in the digital age, it's a delicate task to offer increased access to the official public record while offering greater protection to the people and the property referenced in that record. There's obviously some concerns with protecting privacy when you want to open up records and make some changes. But he has some excellent ideas. One of the commissioners spoke about some broadband limitations we have. There's a lot of updates that need to be done in order to continue to modernize that office. But I intend to do that if I am elected to serve the people of Ottawa County. I'm a graduate of Port Clinton High School. I obtained my bachelor's degree in biology. While I was at college, I worked in Dre Computer Center. I was responsible for backing up data data from the entire college, and we did multiple backups. We actually stored some of those data drives in library offices at that time and in safes, understanding the importance of those records and how they need to be maintained for decades to come. I'm proud to have made my home with my husband, Brian, and my 3 children, Evelyn, Lissa, and Emmett in Ottawa County. I grew up on Catawba, owned property in Portage Township, and now reside in Port Clinton city limits. I'm involved in several organizations and sit on boards of the Oak House, Bistro 163, Strength for the Journey, the Ottawa County Senior Advisory Board, and I'm an ex officio member of Main Street Port Clinton. I'm active in the Ottawa County Beekeepers, which I was a founding member of, the Port Clinton Soccer Boosters, Port Clinton Baseball, Ottawa County Dems, the PC Dems, Port Clinton, There's a drum circle that I'm involved in, which is a little bit of fun, the FOPA. I serve Port Clinton Ward 1 as a city councilman currently. I'm a past member of the Finance Committee as well as Laws, Rules, and Ordinances Committee. And I'm a graduate of the inaugural Leadership Ottawa County class dedicated to serving all of Ottawa County. I bring leadership skills to the office, communication skills, the ability to work with different government agencies and offices and understand how those work together and why it's important that those offices communicate. Virginia Park has given 32 years of dedicated service to that office, and I'm looking forward to filling that role in serving every resident of the county. I continue her legacy of leadership, bring my own skills to the office. Many people know me as, my mother, Chris Galvin, was the late Ottawa County United Way director. I was raised to be a public servant. My father was Northwest Ohio State Representative, later a drug and alcohol counselor. As a mom, a wife, a beekeeper, a community member with experience in local government, I intend to bring that skill set to the recorder's office. Again, my opponent had some great ideas. You know, if he wins, I hope those are implemented. If I win, I hope I can continue to modernize that office with a system that's been effectively used for decades, but also bring it further into the digital age while protecting privacy, which is very important. I don't want you to mute me, so I'm speaking really fast, and I appreciate you having this forum and giving us a chance to introduce ourselves so you can get to know us. With COVID, there's been some challenges. We can't go door to door, we can't talk to people or attend events or have fundraisers like we typically would. So thank you so much for hosting this, and I look forward to the chance to serve all the residents.
Great, thank you. We did have a question come in for the both of you. So to both candidates, the Ohio Revised Code does not require a county recorder to provide full efforts to the job. Will you devote full efforts to the job, and if you hold another elected office of position of trust, will you resign that office?
So go ahead, Beth. Ladies first.
Well, absolutely, two issues there. Number one, I'm currently elected councilman, and that has been a discussion I've had with Virginia Park. When she became recorder, she was a Bay Township trustee. So there's legal questions to the Attorney General's office, because what the recorder does and what City Council does, do those two offices answer to each other? I have one opinion, but I'm waiting for a higher up opinion on that. I would probably step down. I only have one more year left in that term. If the people that I'm elected to serve feel that that's necessary, and if they voice their concern that I can't do both jobs, I'm a dedicated person. I would absolutely give my all to serving the office. I'm the type of person, I get up at 4 a.m. and work till about 2 in the morning on various projects. I'm involved in a lot of different things throughout the county. Not one of those suffers. I'm able to juggle that. As a mom and 3 children, you learn early on how to juggle and multitask like a professional. So I would absolutely step down from council. I love my position on council. We've passed a lot of great legislation for the city that has helped the community, especially in times of COVID. But if the residents of my ward felt that I needed to step down, I would listen to them and do that. I haven't heard them say that yet, but again, there's some legal questions there. I hope that answered the question.
All right, so when I heard about that statute, because I am familiar with it, I want to say the statute says you only have to work 9 hours a month. And I got to be honest, I was a little disgusted with that. So you will see me there 5 days a week. You will see me doing the exact same work that I expect my employees to do. I've been an assistant general manager before, and I think one of the best approaches is I will never expect my employees to do something that I myself would not do. You'll see me doing it. You'll see me learning the same things that they learn. As an Eagle Scout, I demonstrated my ability to do hard work. We all know how difficult landscaping and yard work is. When I do that, I've done it in the 98-degree heat before. So I know what hard work is like. I also have to work hard for my clients as well when doing my job right if I didn't. In terms of whether I would stay on as special counsel at Oregon Municipal Court, that is something I intend to check with the Ohio Secretary of State on. If there is a conflict of interest, then absolutely I would resign from that. If not, I would consider doing it again.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
we will go ahead and move on, and we will hear from the two candidates who are up for Ottawa County Clerk of Courts. So first we have John Berkmanis. Go ahead and unmute yourself, John. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. Good evening. My name is John Berkmanis. I am running for Clerk of Courts. I've lived in Ottawa County for 30-some years. I came here as most everyone who came here for the same reason or stayed here to enjoy the natural beauty of this Great Lakes region. I'm married to Lori and have two children, Alex and Grace, who graduated from Oak Harbor High School. I have two stepchildren, David and Colleen, who are in Oak Harbor High School, and I have two grandchildren, Leo and Amelia, who of course are cutest grandchildren in the world, as all grandparents believe. So my educational background is that I have a Bachelor's of Science from Davidson College. I also have a psychology degree from University of Toledo. I was a psychologist for 10 years. I ran a child day treatment program in Toledo. A child day treatment program is a partial hospitalization program. I had a staff of about 15 to 20 clinicians at that time. I went on to pursue a law degree, and I did receive my law degree from University of Toledo, magna cum laude. After receiving my degree, I settled in Oak Harbor in private practice in what I would like to call farm law. Farm law you won't find in the books, but it's a combination of real estate, probate, and tax law. I also did a lot of guardian ad litem work, more than 500 cases, as I have a psychology background. That involves representing the best interest of the children in child custody disputes and making a recommendation to the court. As far as my community involvement, I'm Vice President of Oak Harbor Conservation Club and have been for 15 years. I was re-elected last night, so it looks like 16 years. I also am an outdoorsman and participate in just about all the outdoor activities available in the area. I also was a member of Kiwanis and served on church council. As far as the Clerk of Courts position, it's kind of one of those that if you don't hear about it in the news, that's good. There's two parts to the clerk's office. The one is handling of documents, which nobody's much interested in other than the lawyers. I would update that with electronic filing. The second part, which actually matters to the public, is the legal title department. Currently, it's housed in the courthouse. So you have to go to the courthouse to get your automobile title or boat title or trailer or manufacturer home. I would instead move that out of the courthouse next to the BMV, which makes sense. You get your title, you go next door, you get your plates. That's the way it is in a lot of the surrounding counties. Wood County is that way. Sandusky County has it side by side. Lucas County has 4 satellite offices and none in the courthouse. So I think if you're working 9 to 5, there's no way you can get your car title without taking time off of work. Moving the title division outside of the courthouse would permit longer hours, different hours, and be a lot more convenient to the public. I would also consider looking at satellites on the east and west end of the county. That depends on feasibility. We do have on the west end 2 car dealerships in Genoa and 2 in Oak Harbor. There might be enough business there to justify it. On the east end, we really only have about 1 car dealership, but we have a ton of boat brokers. So there may be enough there, but that's one of those things to explore. basically the principle which I would bring to the office is we want certified services to unify the county and make title transfers easier for the public. Let's make it convenient for everyone and improve the community for all. Thank you. Please vote for me in November. John McManus, or vote now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, John. And we have another candidate with us today for Ottawa County Clerk of Courts, and that is another John Clahan.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with everyone. As you heard, my name is John Clahan, and I am running for Ottawa County Clerk of Courts. My family moved to Ottawa County when I was just 6 years old, and we owned and operated a small grocery store in Marblehead called Mutaz Market for some 32 years. I currently reside in Danbury with my two sons, John Jr., who's 12 years old, and Alex, who is 10 years old. Both of our boys attend Danbury Middle School. I'm a graduate of Capital University and the Ohio Northern College of Law. After law school, I spent some 10 years managing the family business. After we sold the business in 2007, I hung out a shingle and began practicing law. Shortly thereafter, I also took over Bruce Winter's practice when he went on to become our common pleas judge. For the past 13 years, I've practiced law in the areas of estate law, estate planning, probate, criminal defense, such as felony and misdemeanor, and also real estate law. I'm a past president and vice president of the Ottawa County Bar Association. I'm the current president of the Ottawa County Law Library, and I'm a board member of the Ottawa County Land Bank. I feel my 10 years managing a small business, as well as working as an attorney in this county for over 13 years, make me uniquely qualified to serve as your clerk of courts. If elected, I plan to develop an independent website for the clerk's office to expand online search capability for the public. I would also implement the option of electronic filing for cases with the court. I would also establish a system to accept debit and credit card payments for fines and costs to help the bottom line and collect more of those fines and costs. Lastly, I would cross-train clerk of court staff and enhance communication with the common pleas and municipal courts. And I would appreciate your vote now or on November 3rd. Thank you.
Great, thank you both. We do have a question in the queue. To both candidates, the Ohio Revised Code prohibits attorneys practicing law in the Court of Common Pleas from acting as clerk of court. Also, the Ohio Revised Code does not require full efforts to the position. As attorneys, will you devote 5 days a week, regular hours to the office and stop practicing law, or will you continue practicing probate court? Finally, how would you improve access to the courts for the public?
Go ahead, John.
All right. Essentially, it is a part-time position. Probably it does require being there 5 days a week. However, it would be fairly simple to adjust my practice. I would just stop going to court. Truthfully, I make a lot more money sitting at my desk than I do running to court anyways. But the office requires some time, some effort, and really the big part would be training. If you don't invest in training, you fall short. And there's always things that can be learned. You can learn sign language, you can learn Spanish, you can learn passport handling. There's a lot of education and opportunity for education that goes with the job, and I think that's the important part of the leadership that I would bring. Go ahead, John.
Okay, thank you. I've been asked this before. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to express my intentions again. I fully intend to be in the office 5 days a week at the courthouse to the extent that is required to do the job competently. Having worked in a family business for so many years, I can assure you that a 40-hour week is not the norm. So my intention would still be to serve some of my clients to the extent permitted by the Supreme Court after hours or on weekends. Thank you.
Thank you both. We will go ahead and move on. I now invite the candidates running for Ottawa County Treasurer to speak. And one candidate is present this evening, and that is Anthony Hatmaker.
Hi, thanks Abigail, and thank you for sponsoring this event. My name is Tony Hatmaker. I'm running for Ottawa County Treasurer, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my background and experience. I was born and raised in Port Clinton, and after graduating from Port Clinton High School, I attended Bowling Green State University, where I obtained a bachelor's degree in business administration with a major in accounting. Additionally, I've taken numerous coursework, a whole bunch of different areas, and I've got a lot of continuing education in the areas of public finance and public administration. Professionally, my entire career has been spent in the financial area. I have over 13 years experience as a city treasurer, including time served as treasurer of the city of Port Clinton. I have over 12 years experience as a school district treasurer, which includes the time that I served as treasurer of the Genoa Area Local School District. The county treasurer's office is responsible for a couple of specific functions, namely collecting and investing taxpayer money in a responsible manner. I have over 25 years experience in that, carrying out those specific functions and handling your tax dollars. It would be an honor for me to serve as your next county treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Did we have any questions for Tony Hatmaker? Okay, go ahead and move on. Next, we will hear from the two candidates running for Common Pleas Probate Juvenile Judge, and I will ask Fritz Haney to go ahead and go first.
There. Thank you, Abigail, and thank you to the Harris-Elmore Genoa Libraries for hosting this event. We are in difficult times, and it's been wonderful that everybody bears with the participants here because of the virtual setting that we're in. So it's going to take some adjusting, and I'm not used to being on camera. So I feel like Randy, who said he's a little nervous, even though I've participated in quite a few of these over the years, I'm still a little nervous myself in light of the circumstances. For 28 years, I was honored to serve Ottawa County as its only municipal court judge. I heard thousands of cases involving Ottawa County's families. During my time, my staff and I created innovative programs to benefit and assist the county's citizens, families with real struggles, drug and alcohol addiction and abuse, mental health dockets, as well as mediation programs. My first priority was always to serve the Ottawa County citizens. And in the course of doing so, I was honored by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to serve on several boards and commissions, which recommended and implemented ways to modernize court administration and law enforcement and make them more efficient. Specific to this court was my service on the Ohio Sentencing Commission, which recommended ways of dealing with participants in the juvenile justice system, recommending dispositions and how to treat juvenile offenders in all of Ohio's juvenile courts. Locally, I've been honored to be very active in several civic and community organizations, including playing a trombone in the former Port Clinton Community Band. I even sat a couple of times in the Genoa Legion band. I've served as president of the Ohio Lions Club, or the Oak Harbor Lions Club, a former member of the Magruder Hospital Board of Trustees, and I was honored to be appointed as the first president of Ottawa County's Visitors Bureau. I am an involved member of Ottawa County. I live and I breathe Ottawa County. I know it. I bring my respect, my conscientious involvement, commitment, and 28 years of judicial experience to the probate juvenile court. I also bring several years of private practice experience representing children who are charged with delinquency, or children victims of abuse. I too have been a guardian ad litem. Also represented clients in estate matters and guardianship matters, real struggles with real people. So I know what it's like, folks, to be on both sides of the bench. I've had people before the bench in their darkest hours, and I've stood next to them while they await the decisions of the court. 3 of the 4 previous probate juvenile judges came with municipal court judicial experience. My judicial experience ensures that from day one, the probate juvenile court will be fair, efficient, effective, and run with a philosophy of compassionate accountability. Probate juvenile court judges, like all judges, hear complex cases from elder abuse, guardianships, estate matters, to ones protecting the rights of our children. I know, based on my experience in the adult system, what the adult court is. I want to be part of the solution so that our youth have a path to success and they stay out of the adult criminal justice system. My focus is on family preservation, enhancing existing court programs to ensure that Ottawa County's youth don't get stuck on the track leading to adult courts. I want to ensure that the elderly in our community are respected and protected. This is not a court to learn how to become a judge. The decisions this court makes affects families for generations. It's just too important. The goals I set out, the goals Ottawa County has, can only be accomplished by working with our schools, law enforcement, our business community, and local agencies. I have, through my community involvement and my career, developed working trusted relationships with all of these justice partners. My name is Fritz Haney, and I am asking for your vote for probate and juvenile court. Thank you.
Thank you, Fritz. Our next candidate also running for this position is Dawn Haar, so I invite you to begin your introduction.
Thank you, Abigail, and thank you to the Harris-Elmore and Genoa Libraries for hosting. I'm Dawn Haar. I will not spell my last name because it's on the screen, and we're in Elmore and Genoa. And there are more Haars in Elmore and Genoa than anywhere else in the county. Everyone wants to know if I'm related to this Haar and that Haar, and the answer is yes. They're all shirt-tail relation. Even people without the Haar last name are related to the Haars. I'm married to Sean Haar. He is the youngest son of Dave and Peg Haar, and we are the proud parents of Emily. She's a senior in Oak Harbor High School. What is my education? I am a lifelong resident of Ottawa County, born in Port Clinton and raised in Oak Harbor. So I graduated from Oak Harbor High School as well. I have a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from Bowling Green State University, followed by a Juris Doctorate at the University of Toledo. I've been a practicing attorney since 1993. I've held several offices of public trust, including starting out as an assistant county prosecutor under Lowell Peterson. I did that for about 10 years. I opened a private practice and continued to prosecute for the villages of Elmore and Genoa for about 10 years. And that happened because I was a Wood County assistant prosecutor once upon a time as well. And during that time, I came into contact with the villages of Elmore and Genoa solicitors, Martin Aubrey and Cynthia Smith. And they were so gracious as to offer me the prosecution position when I moved back to Oak Harbor. So I had a private practice in Elmore, which eventually moved to Oak Harbor, which finally landed in Port Clinton, where I practice on Madison Street today. I've been practicing since 1993 in those positions. So I've had a natural progression of public service, and I've held every position that makes up the Ottawa County Probate and Juvenile Court. I've walked in the shoes of a caseworker, probation officer, law clerk under Lowell Peterson, prosecutor under Lowell Peterson, Mark Mulligan, Alan Mayberry, John Myers, public defender, guardian ad litem, agency attorney for children's services, attorney for child support enforcement agency, and private attorney. So I offer a unique and extraordinary judicial perspective, not from the bench, but looking up at the bench from various sides. It's been my privilege to represent clients in many counties, so I have more perspective to bring into Ottawa County because I've been in larger counties, and I see more technological advances in Sandusky, Wood, Lucas, and Erie counties that we can bring into Ottawa County probate and juvenile courts. In the last year alone, to give you some examples, I represented clients in adoptions, guardianships, estates, custody, child support, and juvenile delinquency. And I'm also the attorney for Ottawa County Child Court-appointed special advocates in abuse, neglect, and dependency cases. I'm prepared for the familiar daily docket in the Ottawa County Probate and Juvenile Court because I am on the daily docket. I am prepared for the specialized dockets because I'm also a part of the specialized dockets, the planning and the execution of the same. There's unique challenges now facing this court and the people that we serve, and learning on the job is unacceptable. Because I regularly practice within the Ottawa County Probate and Juvenile Court, I've established a working relationship with the community resources and the stakeholders that are involved in the court. I'm committed to improving the lives of our children and our families. I will focus on alternatives to adjudication in the juvenile court, excuse me, with evidence-based practices and proper case management. You can be in a room at times in the juvenile court pre-COVID with 12 other people, and half of those people can be attorneys. So it takes a very gentle touch at times and a hand that is looking toward sometimes mediation instead of a very difficult and prolonged process. I plan to be more responsive to our community resources and the people we serve with some innovative technological solutions. And our courts, finally, are not interchangeable. Consequently, my extensive experience within the probate and juvenile court makes me the natural successor as your next Ottawa County probate and juvenile judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Fritz. Thank you, Dawn. We have two questions. The first one is for Dawn. Your brother, Randy Sheets, is running for county commissioner. How would you handle the conflict of interest this presents as the commissioners oversee the court budget?
I would handle it the same way I handle any conversation or any adversity within the sibling rivalry that we have. I would present my position. I would expect him to present his position. I would expect the other county commissioners to step in and handle their positions, and I would expect everyone to reach a fair and effective disposition.
Thank you. Our next question is for both candidates. Recent stories raise serious concerns with integrity in the courts, including a special prosecutor in Ottawa County Municipal Court, Tim Braun, who prosecuted an attorney for speech crimes over reports of serious misconduct. He is now the subject of a criminal investigation. How would you protect constitutional rights in court? Whoever would like to go first.
Go ahead, Dawn. That's fine.
I think it's important to know all the facts before you delve into decision making. So there would have to be a complete and thorough investigation into the happenings at that particular time. And the persons that were responsible, if they were deemed corrupt, it should go to the next level. It should certainly go outside of Ottawa County, and the persons who were involved in from the bottom up in a vertical process, you need to go outside the vertical process in order to reach a full and fair resolution.
Finished?
Yes.
I certainly don't disagree with Dawn's assessment. but I understood the question to be, how would you interpret constitutional rights? And I did that for 28 years. I interpreted constitutional rights of individuals, whether it was a request for a warrant to search a home, or whether it was a warrant to have someone literally arrested off the streets where their personal liberty was at stake. And these jobs was made reference to a little while ago. These are not 9 to 5 jobs. This is like the municipal court, a single judge court where you've got to be on call 24/7. The current judge, Judge Giesler, I think has done a terrific job, even in this COVID environment, where she's doing a lot of Zoom meetings and a lot of telephone conferences and things. But Judge Giesler knows she was on call for warrants. So how would we interpret the Constitution? We do it on a day-to-day basis. You've got to be available. I've had calls 3 o'clock in the morning requesting warrants from various law enforcement agencies. So you're awoken and you have to, I'm prepared. I have books in my family room that if the occasion rises, we deal with it right then and there. I would like to, if I can, Abigail, comment quickly. I appreciate Dawn's obvious relationship with Randy. And Randy obviously is going to support his sister, and I would assume vice versa. But folks, that's an obvious conflict of interest, and I would assume Randy would step away because he can't vote on the budget of the probate juvenile court. At least there's an appearance of impropriety, if not an outright conflict of interest. So with all due respect to Dawn and Randy, and I know they love each other, they want to support each other. I think the taxpayers would be a little concerned if they were voting on one another's or one's voting on the other one's budget.
Okay, thank you. So in order to stay on time, we will have to move on. Next up are the issues. So we have 4 issues on the ballot that pertain to Harris Township, the Genoa area, and Ottawa County. So first is the Harris Township renewal, $1.3 million to maintain cemeteries over 5 years. I believe we may have a council member from Harris Township to speak on behalf of this. Okay, looks like we do not. So I will go ahead and move on to our 2 issues that pertain to the Genoa Area Local School District. One is an additional $4.9 million current expense over 5 years, and the second is a renewal tax levy, 3.9 mils, current operating expense, continuing period of time. And we have Michael Ferguson, Superintendent of Genoa Area Local Schools, to speak on behalf of these issues.
Thank you, Abigail. I'd also like to thank the Harris-Elmore and Genoa Libraries for sponsoring this forum. So yes, we have 2 levies on the ballot. As Abigail said, we have a 3.9 mil operating levy that's a renewal, so there's no additional new tax. We do also have a 4.9 mil operating levy that will be on the ballot as well. So the questions always come up every time we have to go to our voters for more funds is why. And I think Mr. Odoricio said this well earlier, that the state continues to underfund schools across the board. This is my 6th year, starting my 6th year as superintendent in Genoa schools. And all but 1 year, we've either been flatlined or we've been cut. And so when you talk about, well, where does all the money go? So in 2015, we passed a levy that provided us just a little bit over $1 million. So that's a static amount of money. It doesn't continue to grow, but our expenses to continue to grow over that time. So just as an example, since 2015, our special ed funding has skyrocketed 86%. It's gone from a little over $700,000 a year to almost over 1.3 million. Our costs for health insurance have gone up 20%. So just between those 2 items, they have eaten over $800,000 out of that 1 million each year. So that's just two prime examples of where does the money go. So I think it's important that voters know that we're being good stewards of the money. Our average teacher salary is second lowest in the county, including some of the surrounding schools in other counties. What we spend to educate students is the lowest in the county and those surrounding schools. So we are not being frivolous with the funds that the voters have given us, and we continue to operate and do a good job with our students. And this is just, unfortunately, as long as the state continues to underfund schools, we will always have to go back to the voters, especially when we're getting cuts, we're receiving cuts. We know that a lot of government entities receive cuts in the spring and again in the fall here. And, you know, we can't recover. We don't have outside resources to make up those differences. And as long as our costs continue to rise, we just don't have a choice but to go back to the voters. So that, you know, that in essence is why we're asking again. And, you know, we just hope that the voters will see that we've done a good job with the money that we've had and will continue to support us. Typically, people want to know what that's going to cost them. That 4.9 million levy is going to cost them. What it amounts to, if you have a home with a market value of about $100,000, it'll cost you about 47 cents a day. And obviously, you can extrapolate that out based on the market value of your home. So that's kind of where we're at, and I just sincerely hope that the voters look at this and seriously and support us. And we're looking forward to continuing to do the work that is best for our students.
Thank you, Michael. I don't see any questions coming in, but I will go ahead and have Judy Indorf from the Citizens of Ottawa County Park District go ahead and speak on behalf of the issue of the Park District of Ottawa County an additional 0.6 mil for bike and walking trails over the next 10 years.
Thank you, Abigail. I'm going to turn it over to Gary Coley. He's going to introduce the Park District, and then I'll talk about the levy.
Great, thank you. Gary, you are muted.
That better?
Better.
Okay. My name's Gary Coley, and I thank you for the opportunity to campaign for this levy. The Ottawa County Park District Board is a statutory board created by the probate court judge and is a quasi-governmental entity where it has authority to oversee and participate in the development of parks, park areas, bike trails, and so forth. And the history of Ottawa County Park District is in 1992 it was created. It had its first serious board meeting in around 2017. Between 2017 and today, the Ottawa County Commissioners have negotiated into and created over the last 2 years a active transportation trail, which ties into a national plan of connecting bike trails from the East Coast to the West Coast. And the best illustration of that is the bike trail between Elmore and Fremont. That bike trail has been completed for a number of years and now is being presently extended to Genoa, and there are potential plans already approved to extend that bike trail to Millbury. In the course of the last several years, the board has met every other week in a room in the courthouse, and its present funding as we speak is $245. the potential bike trail between Genoa and Millbury will have a cost in excess of $3 million, of which, if that is to be completed, local funds have to be generated. And it has been the purpose of this park board to generate an interest and a trail from the east end to the west end to the north of Catawba, even normally or ultimately over into Put-in-Bay. That has developed historically over the last 2 years with good opportunities to accomplish that with absolutely no funding. Judy is a commissioner and is in charge of putting together a levy of a 0.6 mil that would generate funds to make Ottawa County competitive for local matching funds, for national matching funds, funds from the state. And so we have worked hard on putting the levy together, and I'm going to turn it now over to Judy for a dissertation on how that levy's been projected and what we hope to gain out of that levy.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Abigail, and everyone for hosting this. We are putting a 0.6 mil levy on the November ballot. That levy will generate about $1 million a year for the Park District of Ottawa County, and it would cost a homeowner that has a home of about $100,000 value, $21 a year, or less than about $2 a month. We hope to do with that, we hope to continue the projects that we've got started predominantly on the west end of the county. The projects that Gary was talking about between Genoa and Elmore, Genoa and Millbury, and then hopefully bring them east across the entire county. The biggest thing that this levy will enable us to do is gain access to state and federal grant funding money that takes seed money to get those grants. And those grants would then help us fund these $1 million projects that we hope to put throughout the county. Our goals are to increase public health with these trails. We also hope to partner, and we've been asked to partner with some state and federal organizations to help preserve and conserve wetlands. And then we're also working on a project with a farm over in the Elmore area to create a project and camping area for the Boy Scouts. Those are kind of the big, and that helps us preserve pieces of Ottawa County for future generations. So those are kind of the big projects that we're talking about to hopefully accomplish with the proceeds from this levy.
Great, thank you both so much. We did not have any questions for you, but we did have 2 questions that I skipped over during the forum just to stay on time, and I just wanted to give our community members the opportunity to ask those. One is for Joel. This popped up at the beginning of the forum, and it asked, guns are important to us in Ottawa County. What letter grade did each candidate, did you, receive from the NRA or Buckeye Firearms?
That's a great question. I received an F from the NRA, and I'm proud of that. I will say that I'm not opposed to gun ownership, but the vast majority of Ohioans support common sense gun legislation. 90% of Ohioans believe that we should close the gun show loophole, and that includes 87% of Ohio's gun owners. So we need to make sure that every person who purchases a firearm in the state has a background check. And the other thing that many Ohioans support is red flag laws. So I think it's reasonable to keep guns out of the hands of people who have a violent criminal history. So we have the gun violence problem in the US is a health crisis. We need to make sure that we have some common sense legislation that will address that.
Thank you. And the last question that popped up is for Dawn. It says, you state you have an extraordinary judicial perspective as you have served in every position within the court. When have you been a magistrate or a judge?
That's a great question. And I'll answer it this way. When you've served in every position in the Ottawa County Probate and Juvenile Court, it includes being in the courtroom on a daily basis and seeing exactly what a magistrate and judge does right and doesn't do right. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not see any other questions popping up, so I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you so very much for joining us this evening. This has been fun, and like a lot of you mentioned, it's very tough to get in contact with our political representatives during a time like this. So I wish you all the best of luck as you finish off your races, and everybody stay safe.